Why Machiavelli still matters. Niccolo Machiavelli didn't sugarcoat power. He didn't dress leadership in moral robes or idealistic fluff. He wrote The Prince not to flatter rulers but to show them how the game of power is really played. His message, if you want to lead, learn how to be feared without being hated, respected without being naive, and powerful without showing all your cards. In today's world, where leadership is more about persuasion than decree, Machiavelli's principles still hold. CEOs, politicians, military generals, and public figures alike know that how you speak can define whether people follow you or forget you. Leadership isn't just about making decisions. It's about commanding respect through the right words, the right tone, and the right image. This video will explore how Machiavelli's classic insights, particularly those focused on the language of leadership, can be applied to modern communication. We'll break down the tactics that make people listen, obey, and respect. Not through charm. Through strategy. 1. In Machiavelli's view of leadership and power. Leadership according to Machiavelli. Machiavelli saw leadership as a performance. One rooted in survival, control, and manipulation. He didn't believe rulers should aim to be loved, only that they should avoid being hated. More important was being respected, and that came from projecting strength, decisiveness, and mystery. In The Prince, he writes, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, must choose." This doesn't mean being cruel. It means keeping people slightly on edge. When people fear you, they hesitate. When they hesitate, you control the timing. That's power. Respect, then, in Machiavelli's eyes, is not earned, it's engineered. And language is a key part of that. A leader doesn't speak like everyone else. A leader calculates every word. Machiavelli also emphasizes virtue, not morality, but strength of character, boldness, and cunning. A leader must appear principled, but be ready to act against virtue when needed. Words, he says, should signal virtue even when actions do not. 2. The psychology of respect, fear versus love. Fear triggers control, love breeds expectation. Fear gets attention. It creates psychological space between leader and follower. Love, on the other hand, creates expectations. People expect warmth, inclusion, and fairness. And when you fail to meet those expectations, they feel betrayed. Machiavelli knew this. He writes, "Men have less scruple in offending one who is beloved than one who is feared." When people love you, they may still disrespect you. But when they respect and fear you, they hesitate before challenging you. That's the edge a leader needs, especially in high-stakes environments. So when a leader speaks, they must project strength, clarity, uncompromising purpose. Even silence can be strategic. Speaking rarely, but with impact, gives the impression that every word matters. 3. Strategic communication, say less, mean more. The power of precision. Machiavelli champions strategic ambiguity. Say only what you must. Let others fill in the gaps. A prince never lacks legitimate reasons to break his promise. This quote isn't about dishonesty for its own sake, it's about flexibility. Leaders must leave room to maneuver. That includes in speech. You don't lock yourself into promises that might backfire. You signal strength without giving away your position. Speak in headlines, not essays. Leaders who over-explain seem insecure. Those who speak clearly and briefly project confidence and authority. Example, consider military generals or wartime presidents. Their speeches are tight, focused, memorable. We will not negotiate with terrorists. That's Machiavellian communication. 4. Appearances matter. Perception versus reality. What you seem to be is more important than what you are. Machiavelli understood that most people don't see the full reality, they see images, symbols, and surface behaviors. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. The way a leader speaks, tone, body language, style, creates perception. People judge before they think. So a leader must look confident, sound decisive, and radiate control. Machiavelli's insight here is timeless. People are drawn to leaders who appear virtuous, even if they're calculating underneath. You don't need to be honest, you need to appear consistent. That builds respect. 5. The leader's voice, authority without arrogance. Speaking with gravitas. A true leader doesn't just speak, they command attention. Not by yelling. Not by overwhelming. But by speaking with what the Romans called gravitas, weight, seriousness, and presence. Machiavelli didn't have a TED stage or media training in his time, but his writing implied this truth: if you sound unsure, people will not follow you. If you sound certain, they will, even when you're wrong. This is especially important for leaders who want to maintain respect without crossing into arrogance. Arrogance alienates. But certainty delivered with restraint creates intrigue and strength. Modern Machiavellian leaders, whether CEOs, generals, or presidents, use this approach. They speak slowly, strategically, and often less than expected. They let others reveal themselves while they remain composed. Machiavelli's wisdom: it is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Translation: your words don't matter if you don't back them with controlled presence. 6. Manipulating language, ambiguity, vagueness, and control. Control the narrative without committing to the details. One of Machiavelli's boldest insights is that leaders must manipulate perception without getting caught up in facts. Not because truth doesn't matter, but because in politics and power, perception often becomes the truth. By being vague or ambiguous, a leader creates space. They allow people to project their hopes, fears, and interpretations onto the leader's message. This tactic is everywhere in modern leadership, campaign slogans: change we can believe in. Change from what? Toward what? Undefined, intentionally. Corporate speeches: we're committed to innovation and excellence. Sounds good. Means almost nothing. Ambiguity lets leaders own multiple meanings at once. When things go right, they take credit. When things go wrong, they redefine what they'd really meant. Machiavelli would approve. In his world, clarity is a tool, not a virtue. You use it when it strengthens you. You avoid it when it binds you. 7. Knowing your audience, adaptability is power. Say what they need to hear, not what you want to say. Machiavelli warned against leaders who assume that one strategy fits all people. Different crowds require different messages. The powerful want stability. The poor want hope. The military wants clarity. The public wants reassurance. A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. In communication, the fox is subtle. The lion is direct. Great leaders use both depending on who they're speaking to. An example, a skilled leader will use technical jargon with experts, emotional appeals with the public, and direct orders with subordinates. Same person. Different voice. That's adaptability. This isn't dishonesty, it's effective framing. People respond best when they feel understood. If you always talk the same way to everyone, you're not leading, you're just talking. Machiavelli teaches us, respect is earned not by who you are in private, but how well you read the room and respond with precision. 8. Leadership in crisis, speaking in chaos. Clarity under pressure equals power. In times of uncertainty, people don't need full explanations. They need leadership. This is where Machiavellian speech becomes especially powerful. A leader's ability to speak with confidence, calm, and resolve during crisis determines whether people stay united or panic. Machiavelli didn't believe in panic. He believed in preparation, discipline, and appearances. In chaos, a leader must appear unshaken, even when uncertain. That illusion is often enough to stabilize others. Examples: Franklin D. Roosevelt's "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." Churchill's wartime speeches, focused, bold, unyielding. Jacinda Ardern's calm messaging during COVID, empathetic yet decisive. Machiavelli would argue that these leaders understood timing, tone, and the power of symbolic speech. Their words were tailored not to reveal truth, but to command belief. 9. Modern applications, politics, business, and public speaking. Machiavelli in the boardroom and beyond. Machiavelli's rules weren't just for Renaissance princes. They work just as well in today's political campaigns, corporate boardrooms, and social movements. In politics, candidates use Machiavellian tactics when they avoid direct answers but sound confident. Frame opponents as threats to stability. Use repetition and slogans to create emotional associations. In business, Machiavellian communication shows up when leaders control narrative during layoffs. This is part of a long-term vision. CEOs build mystique by speaking rarely but with impact. Mission statements sound inspiring but stay vague enough to allow flexibility. In public speaking, the best leaders speak in bold, emotional terms that connect. Use pauses to create weight. Manage their image as carefully as their message. Machiavelli's legacy is this: people respect those who know how to speak like they hold power, even if they don't yet have it. Conclusion: speak with power, lead with precision. Machiavelli's final word, command, don't converse. To speak like a leader is to control perception, shape emotion, and command respect. Not by chance, but by design. Machiavelli didn't believe in open transparency. He believed in smart signaling, in image control, in strategic communication that leads people to conclusions you've already chosen for them. Today's leaders can still learn from him. Speak less. Say more. Choose clarity when it strengthens you. Choose vagueness when it protects you. Appear virtuous. Act strategically. Adapt to your audience. Maintain your core. In crisis, speak with calm certainty, true or not. People follow strength, not chatter. They respect confidence, not over-explanation. To lead, speak like someone worth following. Machiavelli taught that power is maintained not by honesty, but by control. In a noisy world, the leader who knows how to speak with purpose and when to stay silent wins.